Yeah. Hi Tim, do I look sexy?
No.
Really? You don't think my orange glasses look sexy?
No.
I'm sexy and I know it.
They're torching glasses.
Oh, my torching glasses. Anyways, yeah. Here's what we got. That rim, Timothy is my film guy right now. This rim is breaking apart, as you can see. Last year I welded washers onto it. You can see where they were. And they helped, but this coming year I just can't rely on 8 washers. So what I've decided to do is this. Take this old shit spreader rim and cut it out here all the way around and weld it on that. So I'm going to take the camera from Tim here and yeah, so I'm going to weld that to that. Yes, I know you're not supposed to weld rims, but you know what? Too freaking bad. Yeah, so here, let me show you what I've done, because I've done this already and I survived, so it didn't kill me. But yesterday I did this one right here, and it looks pretty good actually. I cut it out and welded it in there. It's not the greatest welds in the world, but they'll do because the cracks go between the lugs. So I welded out here, and that has you know, basically transferred all that stress from the center of the rim here out to here. So I think we're pretty good. It's alleviated the cracks. So what I'm going to do is torch this out right now, and yeah, Timothy can film that, right? You think you can film that? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll get my torch set up, and then Tim can film it. I'm not exactly impressed with this torch. I need to clean that, you know that? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. I thought that was the most ridiculous song I ever heard in my life. Oh, there's my hand. Anyways, okay, so there it is. It's all cut out, as you can see. See if I could do a kick flip there like you're doing. What do you know?
Pull it off real quick.
What am I pulling off?
Cooling off.
Oh, go ahead. Cool it off then. Okay, so, you know, rusty steel and torches, and that torch tip needs a little bit of rescue, and it kind of takes a little bit to you know, to cut it. But anyways, Tim's going to cool that off, and then I'm going to grind it and get it nice and flat and a nice weldable surface. I have let the air out of this tire because when you weld a rim, you're really not supposed to have a rubber tire on there because there's a reaction when you weld stuff that could actually cause the tire to explode. But I'm so far away from the rubber because, I mean, I am welding in the center here. You never weld a rim like this. You can check this out on YouTube. It's called Tire Explosions from welding a rim. I forget what the name of the video is, but it's a pretty explosive video. People die. I mean, that thing will blow up and just cut you in half. So, but I'm so far away from the rubber that I don't think it's going to matter. And I've done this before, so it's, you know, maybe I'm just lucky. Who knows? Hey Tim, we gotta grind that. And I have to flip it over. But anyways, okay, here we go. So here it is. I'm gonna run my grinder around that, try to take some of that paint off of there so it doesn't contaminate the weld. Actually, yeah, go ahead, we'll do that. Yeah, so there it is. That's what it's gonna look like before it gets welded on there. I've taken just 5/8" bolts and bolted the thing fast and clamped it down really tight. Now, I tried it the other way, but there was too much of a gap between here and there, and it would never allow the lug nut to tighten up fully. So what I'm having is just this little space in here on the lip. But this lip is not going to ride on the hub, ever. All it's doing is, you know, I'm just going to weld along the edge here, and that's just going to take up all the pressure that, you know, that otherwise is in this crack here. So I'm thinking that ought to work. If it doesn't, I'm sure these rims are going to cost me like $1,000. There's just nothing cheap about them. They're an odd size. They're a standard 8-bolt lug. They're 10 inches wide and they're 42 inches tall. So they're a very expensive rim. I'm certain of that. I tried to call somebody. They were like, well, you got to go to Hardi for that. I was like, well, I don't really want to go to Hardi because Hardi's going to charge me 10 times as much as what it's worth. So I'm opting to do the farmer fix here. So anyways, Tim's going to do some of the video work while I'm welding, and hopefully you get that. But here we go. Gotta get in a nice comfortable position. I'm going to start over here and work my way on around. So here we go. What? Want to learn how to weld like this? The key to welding good is actually getting in a good position, in a nice steady position. I mean, you don't have to have the best welding equipment in the world to do a nice job. Just know your rods, know your thickness of your welds, your thickness of your rods obviously, and what you're welding. Cleanliness is key. If it's a dirty darn piece of shit, it's going to weld like a dirty darn piece of shit. So, you know, even if you didn't have a grinder, you could take your cutting torch and actually just burn the paint off of there, and it would produce some pretty decent welds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this up. Tim's got another job to do, and I'll show you when I'm finished what it looks like. And then of course we're going to paint it because, well, liquid nitrogen rusts the shit out of everything. So you just want to put a good coat of paint on like I did on the other rim. And I think it's going to look pretty good. To be honest with you, I think it's going to look mighty darn fine. So, anyhow. You good?
Yep.
Okay, so we got this thing all welded on there. It looks pretty good to me. I'm hoping that when I get it on there that the new bolts will clinch that thing nice and tight, or the new nuts will clinch that nice and tight, but I really need to paint this thing because of the fertilizer will just eat the hell out of this rim if I don't. So the rim is hot yet, so this paint is going to dry even though I'm in like winter wear because it is bloody. Tim's got it on there. It almost looks like it's supposed to. Right, Tim? Two hands would help there. Alright, so me and Tim have this sprayer. It's not quite ready to go, but we're getting down to it. What I have to do tomorrow, because we're getting late now, is I'm actually going to drop this tank. This is my rinse tank, and I really like to be able to rinse the main tank. But I can't rinse the main tank because my rinse tank, there's the siphon tube has fell off. It has come unhooked and it has fell off. So I have to do that. And the other thing is, there's O-rings in each one of these connections. And I think that there's a couple spots where they're sucking air. And according to the manufacturer, Hardi, they're telling me that because there's air there, it's causing a cavitation, which is causing the heads to actually leak. So, last year I tore this one here off and I brazed it, and it didn't work. But I did take this one here off and this one here off, and I welded that with a very interesting material. It's like a nickel welding rod, but it's very, very old, from like World War II old, and it's a German rod. I've never used anything like it, but a grinding wheel won't even cut that stuff. It's unbelievable. So anyways, this pump is like $2,000, and each one of these heads is like $200. Well, there's 6 of them. So I was debating whether to just scrap the pump and buy a whole new pump, or just fix the heads. Well, I'm gonna fix the heads because this worked. It worked here, it worked there. I am seeing a little bit of wet there, but I'm not sure what that's about. I think that's just old. I think it leaked down from here. You can see this one is just getting ready to go, and I think that actually leaked down from there and onto there, and this one here is definitely leaking. So I'm gonna weld that one. I'm gonna grind that all off of there. I'm gonna weld that, and I'll do that tomorrow. So as you can see, this tractor here that I'm going to be running my sprayer with is the 7810. It's got a little more horsepower, and it goes about 6 miles an hour faster than the 7410. So we'll be using the 7810 on the sprayer so we can get moving. And if we get into a sticky wet situation, I can always, you know, it's got the horsepower to, you know, bump up the gears and go through. So that's why I'm doing that. But there's just a few other small things that I need to do to the sprayer other than my wheel fix job. I think that turned out pretty good myself. But there's a grease zerk there that I had a hard time. I got to pull it off and replace it because it's not taking grease. And what else is it? Just basic greasing and stuff like that on the pump needs grease, and everything else is good to go. I try to keep this particular piece of equipment in good order because, well, I try to keep them all in good order, but you know, when you got so many things, it's hard to remember. You kind of forget about one or the other then the other, and you know how it goes. But anyways, that's going to conclude my sprayer wheel video, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more. Yes, the 4450 is coming. I have to get it. I got the pinion and ring gear, and that job's coming, so stay tuned.